Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles pregame show. We are 40 minutes away from the kickoff to the big game between the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. A lot at stake as the 7-1 Eagles play their final game before the bye, with a chance to enter the bye and start this 6-game gauntlet with a 2.5-game lead over the Cowboys, or all of a sudden it becomes just a half-game lead if they lose this game, Jamie, and then the Cowboys have an easy schedule. You wonder if by the time these two teams play again in a month that the Eagles will be trailing in the division. So lots to talk about. Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott did not get a chance to play against each other last year.
Yeah.
So this is a big game there. It's a beautiful day.
Gorgeous.
In Philadelphia. I imagine that the extra hour of sleep has meant an extra hour of drinking for a lot of people down in South Philadelphia. They'll be nice and lubed up.
Yeah, hopefully the birds with young children, actually got their extra hour of sleep because daylight savings.
Yeah,
and
sure
children,
doesn't make any difference for
no,
for
it certainly does not.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a gorgeous day, great time of the year for this game. You know, Dak Prescott has kind of owned the NFC East a little bit in his career, and the implications for this, as you said, like I would imagine the DraftKings Super Bowl odds for the Eagles, NFC East odds will, drop a lot if they win this game. The NFC odds will be affected by it. So the future implications for the year in this game are huge for the Birds.
Bo Wulf here, Jamie Lynch there. We will talk to Zach Berman, who is at Lincoln Financial Field in about 10 minutes or so. He's going to have an update on whether or not it is, in fact, Tyler Steen preparing to start his first game of the season at right guard. We've got the inactives to go over. But, Jamie, I guess for you, is our Cowboys like the number one hated team?
It's gone up and down. Like, I know it's like kind of in me to hate the Cowboys. And when the teams are great, you really feel it. There was a while there where they were kind of like offsetting back and forth. And when I was in college, a lot of New Yorkers.
Giants, yeah.
And, Strahan and those teams were so good and winning. So, like, that became a big rival. Now the Giants are irrelevant again. Commanders have always kind of been irrelevant. So it's when both teams are good, it's great. Like, this week's excitement and anticipation and hatred of that stupid star has kind of built. And here we are. It's going to be an awesome day. And, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the game. But, it's great. You can kind of feel it in the city this week.
Before we talk to Zach, let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys offense against the Eagles defense. We have been doing this show since week 2. This is the first time all season in which the Eagles will have the same secondary as a game that they have played earlier in the season. That's big. So you've got Kevin Byard and Reed Blankenship at safety. You'll have Darius Slay and James Bradbury on the outside. And actually, we don't know who's going to play in the slot in this game, and that's a big question because CeeDee Lamb is what everything flows through in the passing game for the Cowboys. His percentage of targets is as high as most receivers in the league, and he plays a lot in the slot, over 60% of the time. So is it going to be Eli Ricks in there? Is it going to be Sidney Brown in there? Are the Eagles going to move Darius Slay or James Bradbury inside? Probably a combination of all of those things. But would you say that for you, CeeDee Lamb is the big concern?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll see him make an appearance again in my best bets of the week later because, much like Terry McLaurin kind of owns the Birds, I just assume CeeDee Lamb is going to have his 85 to 110 yard games, probably with a touchdown. He's the big concern for me because he's really good.
It feels a little bit like the Dolphins matchup in that.
Are they on Fraud Watch?
I think they might be on Fraud Watch. Okay. So there was a spirited comeback from them at the end of that game in Germany. I would say that like the strength of the Cowboys offense is the middle of the field, right? That's where Dak Prescott likes to throw the ball. That's where CeeDee Lamb wins. Jake Ferguson is second on the team in catches. Their tight end, he wins in the middle of the field. And we know that is where the Eagles are weakest, right? Mm-hmm. We'll see what they do at linebacker, if they're going to continue to rotate with Nakobe Dean and Nicholas Morrow. Zach Cunningham will be on the field for sure. But it feels like that's where the Cowboys can win. And as always, for the Eagles, it comes down to, can the pass rush get home, right? And for Jalen Carter, playing his first Eagles-Cowboys game, a chance to make a big impact on a national island game. And Fletcher Cox, our colleague,
our new teammate,
our new teammate. Nice to have a teammate of ours on the field. He will be a big player here. And then the big news in the inactives is that Derek Barnett is down, which means that you would think maybe some more snaps for Nolan Smith, who hasn't played more than 9 snaps in a game this season. With no Barnett, that means that Reddick and Sweat are obviously the top guys on the outside, and they were pushed a little bit more than you might expect last week in terms of the percentages of snaps they're going to play. With a bye looming, it's possible they could do that again, or it could mean, okay, we finally think that Nolan Smith is ready to take 15 snaps a game, and maybe Brandon Graham could get involved as well.
Yeah, I saw Zach tweeting out a little bit ago the percentages, and there are snaps there for Nolan Smith to take directly from Derek Barnett. So I would expect to see more Nolan Smith. It's either one of two things. Either, like you said, they think Nolan Smith is ready now, or 2, Derek Barnett has finally pissed them off enough that they're just like, this dude's not worth it. He's not worth blocking.
But he didn't commit any big penalties. Where could
he probably did something stupid.
There were so many things that could have been the end of the line.
Yeah,
turns out that just not being effective is the one that gets him off the field.
And maybe they've seen enough from Nolan where they just go, all right, this kid can't be blocked anymore by somebody that really gives you nothing. I mean, Derek Barnett essentially gives you nothing.
It has been a disappointing season so far for Derek Barnett. Running down the rest of the inactives, Tanner McKee, the third quarterback. Bradley Roby down again. Boston Scott, who was dealing with some kind of unannounced personal issue all week, he is inactive, which means that Rashad Penny will be up for just the second time this season. Do you think Rashad Penny gets a carry, Jamie?
Yes. I'm going to go with 3 carries.
3 carries for Rashad Penny. I like that.
Penny. I think he's going to steal one away from Kenny Gainwell.
I think it would be really funny if the first time they get in the red zone, the first carry, first carry of his game goes to Rashad Penny.
Yeah, let's go, Nick. Have a sense of humor here.
Yeah, have a sense of humor.
Appease us.
Also, Moro Ojimo, the defensive tackle, down, which is a little bit interesting because they had already traded Kentavious Street, who had an interception today for the Falcons. But they're still a little bit light at defensive tackle. And then Grant Calcaterra, who had a history of concussions in college, suffered a concussion last week. He is inactive as well. That means that Albert Okwuegbunam is up. Patrick Johnson is up for the first time in a few weeks as a special teams player. And then Ben Van Sumeren, the undrafted rookie, which was reported yesterday first by Zach Berman. He is elevated for this game and a player who the Eagles hope can make an impact on special teams.
Yeah, Patrick Johnson was a pretty good special teams player, so it helps to get him back a little bit. Somebody in the chat wanted to know, I agree with Polar Jam in regards to Rashad Penny. I kind of want to see that he's cooked with my own eyes.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I think they should start this game with 8 straight handoffs.
Yeah,
to Rashad Penny.
Let's just find out. Maybe he'll bust off a couple for 7-8 yards, and we'll get all Rashad Penny'd up. But,
make the game a bit.
I kind of want to see it.
Game with big stakes. Let's just have some fun.
What's there to lose? Go out there and give Rashad Penny the rock.
Put him in Wildcat, just like Jalen Hurts doesn't get a start. It's just Rashad Penny.
Let's get nuts.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. I believe we are about to get Zach Berman. And so, is he there? Not yet. Okay, we'll get him in a sec. Other side of the ball, Jamie, it does sound like it's probably going to be Tyler Steen, and Zach will be able to confirm that. But if it is, in fact, him at right guard, do you have any opinion of what we're going to see here from the third-round rookie out of Alabama?
I'm a little surprised that Cam Jurgens isn't back. I guess they figured why rush it with the bye week next week.
Right.
I have no idea, but I know he's been in Stoutland U now for 8 or 9 weeks, and I heard Kelsey give some really nice glowing reports about him, working in tight situations, excellent footwork. Kelsey would probably say that about most of his young guys coming up. But hopefully he's telling the truth
with the media. But
yeah, and it's his birthday, the birthday boy.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jason Kelsey.
And happy early birthday or belated birthday, whichever one you want to call it, to Zach Berman, who joins us now. Zach, Mr. Ben Van Sumeren, Ben Van Scooperen over here with the move that is making waves throughout the National Football League. How are you, first of all, and second of all, is it in fact Tyler Steen preparing to start at right guard? Zach, you're going to have to rejoin. You're going to have to leave and come back.
The Zach
Everybody
Magic
else who's
Act.
watching live, don't do that. You stay here.
And
Zach,
while you're here, hit that like button, please.
while you're here, hit the like button. Tell your friends. Tell your family. I think it's going to work now. Zach, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can. Tell us, Tyler Steen, starter for the first time in his career?
Correct. I was watching pregame warmups. That's why I'm a few minutes late here, and saw Tyler Steen out there next to Jason Kelce. He was in the combo blocking drills. Him and Kelce were working together, and then when they had the full 11 out there, he was there between Kelce and Lane Johnson. So they, as expected, I know that's a phrase that you hear often, as expected, but we've been discussing this since practice on Thursday. And it is, in fact, the case that Tyler Steen will make his first start against the Cowboys.
And what is your understanding of whether that changes anything from what the Eagles think is their strength up front?
I don't think it changes anything. I do think they like the way Tyler Steen played, certainly last week against Washington. It was a small sample size, 6 snaps. He acquitted himself well. Moreover, during the past 7-8 weeks in practice, he's really caught the attention of his teammates. Jason Kelce said his stock is on the rise, similar, I guess, to the Clemson football program, right? And then that was a reference to anyone who heard Dabo Swinney yesterday after that Notre Dame win. And then Jordan Mailata said, like, he can't wait to see this guy out there on the field, that he's just been awesome in practice recently. The athleticism, there's a reason why the Eagles drafted him high in the 3rd round. Jason Kelce mentioned the fact that he's a tackle moving inside the guard, so he's used to playing against these top players in the SEC. And for Jeff Stoutland to do this shows that they think he's ready. Now, Sua Opeta hasn't been playing particularly well, but Sua Opeta, even though he was injured earlier this week, he was a full participant in practice Thursday and Friday. So this is a matter of them wanting to go with Tyler Steen.
Yeah, Zach, sometimes with new guys, it's a little easier for them to run block than it is to pass protect. Do you think, not that the running game's gone away the past couple of weeks, but it does seem like it's struggled since Cam Jurgens left this lineup? Is there any sense that he's ready to take on the run game? Is there something he does better than the other? And is that going to affect the game plan at all, do you think, today?
Yeah, I mean, he's a better athlete than Sua is. Now, Sua Opeta, for instance, I was talking to Jason Kelce about this. Sua is as good of a guard as Jason's played with it, like mid-zone runs, right? So I don't think Sua is necessarily a liability in the run game, but I think it's a matter of what Steen can bring you. I mean, there's a reason why when they drafted Steen, we discussed the fact that he could be a starter. Obviously Cam Jurgens won that job, and it was never really a competition. But that's how highly they think of Steen. Now, I do think the Eagles are going to run more today, given the front they're playing against. And in asking around about the run issues, one of the things I kept hearing is, well, look at some of these teams they've been playing. I mean, they played Washington's front, right? They played the Jets' front. These are contributing factors. I don't think that tells the whole story. I think a lot of it, too, has to do with how well they're passing the ball. And then, like we've been discussing all week, when Jalen Hurts isn't running the ball, you kind of lose some of the RPR element to your offense. But I am expecting, given Dallas's defense, I am expecting the Eagles to run the ball more today.
Zach, an interesting comment in the chat that I would like you to respond to. Tell me what you think of this. The Mafia Christianity invaded Europe and America and the world and enslaved you indoctrinated slaves. Why do you think you have to have a spiritual awakening? Because Mafia Christianity didn't teach you the truth.
Your thoughts?
I got to tell you, 12 years covering the Eagles, that's not something I put much thought and attention to. I was preparing a whole thing about Derek Barnett and Nolan Smith here. I don't have much on the Mafia Christianity here, but I appreciate the question nonetheless.
I know you appreciate all the listeners. You want everybody to have their voice heard. Tell us
And
what.
that's why you're tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Let's get your whole crew watching as well, right?
Get the whole mafia, yeah.
Yes, Zach, give us your opinion on the Derek Barnett deactivation, and do you think that Nolan Smith is going to play a factor really for the first time this season?
Yeah, I mean, I do know that they've wanted to get Nolan Smith more snaps. Right now, they could have done that with Barnett still active. They went with Patrick Johnson, who's a better special teams player. They haven't been getting much production from Derek Barnett. And I mean, that's just the reality. That the stats bear that out. The film bears that out. So I think this is a matter of Nolan Smith playing more. Nolan Smith is averaging fewer than 10 snaps per game, the number 30 overall pick. I asked Nick Sirianni about this on Wednesday, and Sirianni said he's behind really good players, in particular Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. And even though that is true, Reddick and Sweat are playing they're playing disproportionately more snaps than they did a year ago. So it's one of those things to have Nolan Smith ready for January and February. You got to play him in November and December. So I am expecting to see Nolan Smith more. I was mildly surprised about the Barnett thing. Clearly, the Eagles are thinking about special teams, right? Like the Van Sumeren thing that you referenced when I came on. The Eagles have Moro Ojimo inactive. They brought up Ben Van Sumeren. They're dressing more off-ball linebackers than they have at any point this season for that particular reason. So they have this is clearly something that they wanted special teams to be better for this week. So Patrick Johnson and Ben Van Sumeren will both take on big roles there. But I was surprised to see Barnett inactive, and I am expecting Nolan Smith to play more.
Kavontae Turpin, a very dangerous returner. You wonder if that is a factor. Go ahead.
Zach, after watching the pregame warm-ups here, any educated guess as to who's going to be taking the majority of slot cornerback issues today? Because CeeDee Lamb is a nightmare for any team. But is it going to be Sidney Brown? Is it going to be Eli Ricks? We know Bradley Roby is out. What's your best guess there?
I'll give you $1 if you say Goodrich.
Well, based on watching the pregame warmups, I would say Sidney Brown because he was first up during pregame warmups. Based on watching the Eagles this season, my guess is they're going to rotate guys in and out there. So I do think you'll see some Eli Ricks because they really do like Eli Ricks and he's coming on, and I think he's equipping himself well to that role. But Sidney Brown, I'm expecting to be the first one up. And you're absolutely right. When you look at CeeDee Lamb's production, especially in these past 2 weeks when he's been scorching hot, a good chunk of that production's come in the slot. And they're going to move him inside. And that's if I was on the Cowboys coaching staff, I would do that. The Eagles have Darius Slay and James Bradbury on the outside. And they have this rotating cast of inexperienced players on the inside. And unless the Eagles were to have Slay follow Lamb, like Bo mentioned earlier this week, and they did that against Justin Jefferson, or if they moved Bradbury inside, which they didn't like when he was there back in September, then I'm expecting to see some combination of Sidney Brown and Eli Ricks, and I would expect CeeDee Lamb to be in there quite a bit.
Zach, do you have any early sense of the vibe at the stadium today?
Yeah, the parking lot was excited for this one. I mean, they're excited for most, but like Eagles, Cowboys, it is a beautiful day out there. Like that's something that is pretty clear. You know, I was walking through the parking lot, said hello.
We can see it on your face.
Well, this is the sun coming in. I guess we're not used to this afternoon sun here, but we're so used to these night games at Lincoln Financial Field this season. So the 4:25 time slot. But I said hello to some PHLY listeners and viewers on the walk in. Traffic
Nice.
was pretty was heavier than usual. This is the only show in town right now tonight, right? The Sixers aren't playing tonight. The Flyers aren't playing tonight. The Phillies aren't playing tonight, right? So it's Dallas week, last game before the bye week. So yeah, the vibes, to use your phrase there, are pretty high right now. What adjective would you use to describe vibes?
I think high is good. It seems to match the vibe of the chat at the moment. So
A lot of weed talk.
Okay. Is that right? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I can't really contribute much to that, but I can tell you about Ben.
So Zach, I think I just did a hot take. I said that Rashad Penny is going to get 3 carries today. Any idea as to what that running back rotation is going to look like? You think Rashad Penny? I know Nick Sirianni says all the right things and he believes in Gainwell and this and that, but I think there has to be a little curiosity there, right?
Maybe a little. I mean, I don't think that's like a scorching hot take. I would think that's more like lukewarm,
Microwave warm.
But yeah, exactly. Look, Rashad Penny's been the 4th running back. Boston Scott inactive for personal reasons. Penny's active for the first time since week 2. I expect him to be the kickoff returner. I've kind of viewed the Penny situation being that if Swift goes down, they don't really have a back who can carry that bigger load, right? I mean, I think they view more with Gainwell and Scott as situational guys, so Penny could take on a bigger role in case of injury. But I wouldn't rule out Penny getting a few carries here and there. Certainly if the Eagles are leaning into the running game. I mean, I'm expecting this to be a much heavier DeAndre Swift game. I don't think Kenny Gainwell's role is going to change. I still think the Eagles trust him in hurry-up situations. I still think they trust him down near the goal line, even though he has fumbled. And I'm not expecting that role to change. But I can see Penny taking on more. Well, obviously, the fact that he's active shows that he's taking on a bigger role. But, yeah, if they give him, you said, 3 carries? That wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't make that like my story as this big surprise. So I'm with you on that take there.
Zach, my last one for you is the first time here that Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott have played each other since 2021. They've only played each other one time before. Going to all those Jalen Hurts press conferences, don't you do? Reading everything that you can about him, trying to sponge up everything there is to know about Jalen Hurts. I'm curious what your opinion is on his opinion of Dak Prescott. Does he view them as equals? Does he view this as an opportunity to prove that he is, even better?
I think there's respect for Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts was recruited pretty hard to Mississippi State, a matter of fact, by Brian Johnson when Dak Prescott was there. So I think that's that there is history between the two of them. But Jalen Hurts played in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts was number 2 in the MVP voting. Jalen Hurts is I think Jalen Hurts kind of views the quarterback in the next game and the quarterback in the game after that as kind of the equals, maybe more than Dak Prescott. Now, I can't speak for Jalen, of course, but Jalen Hurts is in that tier that he's played in the final game of the season, and he's brought his team to the final game of the season. And he's had success in January, more so than Dak Prescott has. So I think that there's a healthy respect, but I think the person gunning for the other one, I think that's changed probably since that 2021 game.
Him and Jared Goff, 2 guys who have made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Zach, thank you so much.
Jared Goff has his team playing pretty well this year, by the way. So let's pause those Jared Goff jokes, and because we could be spending a whole week in January discussing Jared Goff.
I doubt it, but that's okay. Zach, enjoy the game. We look forward to seeing you afterwards, in which we hope that this two-face situation you've got your angel on your left, the devil on your right. By the time we talk to you in post-game, it'll be all devil, baby. And so we're looking forward to hearing from that side of you. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you later.
Look forward to it. Enjoy the game, guys.
See you, Zach.
All right.
That was Zach seemed like he was almost on the verge of smack talking Dak a little bit.
Yeah, I think that is Zach's version of smack talking Dak.
Yeah, he kind of I think took a little offense that Jalen and Dak were equals. I think he views it as,
I think that's right.
Jalen is far ahead of Dak.
And I agree that he's ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think this is a nice sort of tentpole chance for him to take that temperature and prove that is the case. Let's talk about that a little bit, because we haven't spent a couple minutes on that matchup here. Last year there was so much focus on the Micah Parsons game plan, right? If you can't block him, then you read him. And I think that if Jalen Hurts can't run quite as much today, that probably changes that game plan. So I'm interested to see early on how lubed up it feels like Jalen Hurts is in this game, and is he going to be willing to run a little bit knowing that the bye is coming?
Yeah, they've done a really good job against Micah Parsons as a team. I think he only has a half sack.
That's right.
Tallied against them so far. And you're right, last year was that, all right, you're not going to come after me. We're going to read what you do and react to that, which I would imagine is extremely frustrating for Parsons because it's almost like the entire offensive game plan was geared towards reacting to him, and he couldn't really do anything about it. So, yeah, I do think that's interesting. I'm sure he got injected with all sorts of wonderful stuff in that knee today. But I was talking to my neighbor about this today. I was like, the only solution to this is like time off, because I'm sure every Sunday he's going out there and re-aggravating it again, and just pounding on that bruise some more. So, I would think he's going to keep the main thing, and not let the knee get in the way of an offensive game plan or performance. So. And
then do you think we're going to see another big A.J. Brown game?
I was going to ask Zach that. Does the streak continue? What does he think? Look, they've had a guy step up since Diggs went down, and they do have Stephon Gilmore there. But I don't think anybody can control A.J. Brown right now. This is unlike any streak I've ever watched with my own team, let alone in the history of the league. Like I think he's going to do it again. Wow. He just it's like in all facets of the game. He's taking some and getting yak. He's going up and high pointing difficult catches. He's getting the deep ball. Like he's coming across the middle. It's just you can't put A.J. Brown in a box, and like he's just. If you take away one aspect of it, he can go kill you in another way.
Sure.
So I just think he's the most complete receiver in the game right now. And
it's
I don't
hard
think,
to argue.
And the Cowboys may be as suited as anybody to slow him down, but I still don't think they're going to be able to. I think he does it again.
I think it's going to have a lot to do with what they game plan on defense, right? Like,
sure.
I think A.J. Brown is capable of having a big game when teams are still, double teaming him and rolling coverage his way. But I think it sort of feels like it has crescendoed now, like 6 straight games that opposing defenses are going to be like, okay, we got to stop him. Like, let's start there. And that's why I have been wrong about this before.
It's Devontae Day?
I got a feeling about a big Devontae game here. And if we transition to our best bets, one of my 2 here is I've done this before. I'm going the alternative line so I can get better odds.
Nice, I like this.
Give me Devontae Smith 80 yards or more
plus 275.
For plus 275.
I like that.
I think that Devontae Smith is going to have a big game.
All right.
There was another one I liked that was like the longest catch for Devontae Smith. It was 20 and a half or something. I like that one too. But they didn't let you parlay that, so I wanted to, so I like Devontae in this game.
I like those odds.
I think last week was like a nice return to his role in the offense, and I think there's a chance that like the game plan this week could be to free him up in a couple big ways. And then my other one here, Jake Ferguson, the Cowboys tight end, who is I believe second on the team in receptions. I've got him over 3.5 receptions in this game, expecting that the Eagles are going to spend so much time focusing what they're going to do on CeeDee Lamb that in the middle of the field, Jake Ferguson will be open a little bit, and that's minus 115. So those are my 2 best bets.
I like that.
And that's just the appetizer here because we know that the main event is Jamie's best bets. The man is
putting so much pressure
money
on myself weekly with this. I do like that Ferguson one. It does seem like whether it's Dalton Schultz or who is Jason Witten, whoever it is, it always seems like the tight end has a big day versus the Eagles. That probably goes hand in hand with their linebacking position and not really investing a lot in it.
There might be a connective thread there.
Yeah. I think there might be something in common there. Mine for the day, because George Kittle absolutely lit up the Cowboys when they faced them earlier this year.
Okay, I like that.
I think Nick Sirianni and the game plan want to get Dallas Goedert going. I'm going to take his over 45.5 yards today. That just seems to me like something they can kind of attack with this offense. And then, unfortunately, I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb over 76.5 yards. Whether it's Ricks or Brown or whoever.
It feels safe, yeah.
Yeah, I just think CeeDee Lamb kind of gets his yards. So nothing too crazy for me today. I'm trying to keep the streak going, but I do expect Dallas Goedert to have a pretty big impact on today's game.
You're keeping the main thing.
Yeah, got to keep the main thing.
Got to. All right, you ready to give your prediction for this bad boy?
Yeah, sure. I think this is going to be a really good game, a really hard-fought game. I think the story of this game is going to be the turnovers.
Is this new?
Yes, this is.
Is this the one that they had on the sideline?
Yes, this was from my girls.
Looks great.
Yeah, it's. I was very happy with it.
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic! What a good gift.
Yeah.
Wait, is today your birthday? When is
Yesterday
the birthday?
was.
Yesterday was your birthday. Happy
so
birthday!
So the girls shout out Skylar. I think she's
you and
watching.
Kelsey connected.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's fantastic.
Skylar and Paige gave me this hoodie, and I'm beaming with pride.
What else did we get?
A couple nice dinners, a new pair of pants, and a nice little fall jacket. I needed to up the wardrobe a little bit. Yeah, it was. And I went to see a comedy
show.
show.
Are these the pants?
No, these are not the pants. But yeah, it was a great day.
What was the comedy show? Let's see.
Yeah, went out with some of my buddies, went out to lunch with the girls, and had a great day. It was awesome.
Love it.
The only thing that would be better
Only one thing left to do.
Yeah, is cap off this weekend and give me a nice Birds victory here. I think the story of this game is going to be the turnovers. Dallas is top 10 in both takeaways and protecting the ball. The Eagles have turned the ball over at a pretty healthy click. So, I expect them not to be turnover free, but if they can limit the points off of those turnovers, I think the game's going to boil down to something as simple as that. I do have the Eagles winning. I just feel like going into the bye at home, the Eagles kind of suck down in Dallas and play them pretty well here at the LINC. I got the Birds winning 28-24.
Okay, I like it. Beat the spread, which is 3. So you got it covered.
Whew, right on.
I'm with you, and I know that this is like, do you need to watch 40 minutes of a pregame show for two people to tell you that turnovers are going to be important? But I feel that way.
Yeah.
Especially when the Eagles have the ball. It is my belief that great offense beats great defense. Good offense beats good defense. When it comes down to it, offense matters more. The Eagles, over the course of the season, are basically 4th in EPA per drive, but if you take away the turnovers, they go up to 2nd. It's the 2nd best offense in football. For the Cowboys defense, they have created so many turnovers that they rank 3rd on defense in EPA per drive, but if you take away their turnovers, they drop down to 8th. They become just a good defense, not like a great defense. And I think if the Eagles can protect the ball, we know that Nick Sirianni has been focusing on it all week. If they can do that, I don't think that Dallas can stop them long enough. And I think the Eagles will be able to move the ball. On the other side of the ball, I think that the Eagles defense will have enough big plays because of that defensive line that they'll be able to keep the Cowboys from running this game up. And so I'm going to take that on faith. I'm going to say the Eagles win this game. I'm going to say 27-20 right now.
All right, we're in the same ballpark there.
I think I had 27-23 on the back and forth with Zach. So either way, both of them covering. But, I got to change it a little bit so that I can take credit for something.
Yeah, while you were talking right there, sometimes like you just kind of get like little snippets in your mind's eye of the game. I just got a little snippet in my head of a big Josh Sweat play today.
Big Josh Sweat play. I like that.
Yeah, that's what the gut's telling me.
All right. Well, now there's enough time to go get that Josh Sweat over 0.25 sack. Get that bad boy on DraftKings.
Nice little fumble recovery to the house. Something sexy from the defense would be would go a long way today.
I like that. I agree with that. And this is the greater analysis of Sean Desai. He had that great game against the Dolphins. For whatever reason, he can't figure out how to stop Sam Howell. Let's see what he can do against Dak Prescott.
Sam Howell's doing the thing again today.
That's true.
He looks all right.
And this is a game that you would imagine that Sean Desai has been thinking about how to game plan for since he got the job, right?
Yeah,
like you do a lot of work over the summer on Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys offense. So very curious to see how it all plays out. We will be here live very shortly after the game. So enjoy the game itself. For MVP superstar producer Andrew, for Zach, for Jamie, the birthday boy.
Go Birds.
Enjoy the game. We'll talk to you later. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.